Hi, I'm Autumn.
So as you mentioned, this is not your first time applying.
The teacher that wrote my recommendation letter last year didn't reply back at all this year. Like, I just don't want to be approached on a street and assume that, like, oh, hey, you must be a sex worker because you're Black. Yeah, her talks about mental health, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to refer to all these.
Hello and welcome back to my channel where I talk about Japan and the JET program, give my advice and opinions, showcase my travel, so if any of that interests you, be sure to subscribe. Click that subscribe button. Earlier this week, I had a video chat with one of you guys, a JET program applicant, one of my longtime subscribers. I remember when I was applying that I felt very alone because I didn't know a single other person who was applying and I didn't meet anyone else who was applying until I got to orientation. And it's great to hear from people who are on the program like me on YouTube, but at the end of the day, it's not quite relatable when you're still in that application process because people like me, we've made it, we're here, and it's just not quite the same. So I'm hoping that this conversation, which I will show the highlights of, whether you have already sent in your application or not, I know the American deadline's already passed. I'm hoping that this video will be relatable to you. Maybe you can have your feelings about the application process validated, or you can pick up some last minute tips, or you can just see the fact that you're not alone. A comforting video for you guys at the end of, or towards the end of, the application for this year. So I will show you that conversation now, and if you enjoy it, then be sure to let me know in the comments below and I'll potentially make more videos like this talking with more of you guys.
Hello!
Hi!
Oh my god, nice to meet you finally after exchanging so many emails for like a year now. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Autumn. I am a JET applicant. Well, fingers crossed. I actually reside in Pennsylvania, United States.
So you have already completed your application for this year. So how are you feeling about it this time round?
This time, I feel okay. I'm not as under pressure as I was last time.
Why is there less pressure this time?
I don't know. I really hit a hard spot when I didn't get in the first time, and I kind of reevaluated everything, and then I realized maybe my reasons for wanting to go are different, and lo and behold, they have changed. So
good. What is your motivation now for applying for JET?
The first time, my motivation was because I felt like I wasn't doing anything. You know, I'm 26, nothing to do. I'm not in my field. Kind of like a smack in the face, you didn't get it. I was like, oh, miserable. But this time, I feel like it's more for me than it is for my situation.
So as you mentioned, this is not your first time applying. Have you done anything in the last year to strengthen your application this time around? Well,
in lieu of coronavirus and my lack of teaching skills, I couldn't really go anywhere because I'm, high risk. But I have been continuing with my Japanese classes online, so we're trying to figure that out. It's not easy.
I'm sure it's not. No, yeah. I mean, everyone's in that position, I suppose. There's not like big events you can get involved with and stuff. So this time around, what was the most challenging part of the application for you?
There were a few things that were really challenging this time. First, getting in contact with some of my teachers was very hard. The teacher that wrote my recommendation letter last year didn't reply back at all this year. So yeah, that was nerve-wracking. And trying to find out what JET means, because they word things very weirdly. I found myself like emailing JETs like, hey, what do you think this means? And they give you these like weird roundabout answers. So
I suspect they get so many people emailing them questions that they just have like some pre-made vague answers that can apply to many questions.
Right.
So how did you overcome these challenges? Did you find a different reference? Did you eventually get in contact with your old teacher?
No, I never got in contact with any of my teachers actually, which was stressful, like I said, but I was able to find kind of like a loophole it doesn't necessarily say university teacher. So I was able to get a teacher that is over me.
That's totally fine. You need to just spin what you can work with to work in your favor. They're not going to see, oh, but this wasn't their main university lecturer, and throw out your application. I think people do stress over the tiny little details like that. What they say is far more important than who it is.
Yeah, and then honestly, like I said, just reaching out to other Jets like yourself, and then other Jets that were or currently in the program, that helped a lot, because they were able to help me like, hey, I think this is what they mean.
Yeah, it's even just like reassuring to get someone else's opinion as well, to see that you're not the only one not 100% sure, or what you think is kind of validated. So yeah, it definitely helps, I think, to reach out to other people and stuff. What were the best resources you came across when you were applying for the application, either this time or in your previous times?
YouTube has always been a really big resource for me. I will say that I was looking at videos from like 7 years ago, like Jets that went like 7 years ago, and it's kind of invalid because most of that is paper. So I was like, oh no, am I gonna have to do an FBI check? And they were freaking out, so I was freaking out about things. But YouTube has been a really big help. And then there's a site called Tofogo. It's like a website to help people understand like the application process. So yeah, just mostly YouTube and Reddit every now and again. But Reddit's kind of bad. Don't go on Reddit, because like you get all those like, I got rejected, this place sucks. So
I actually just filmed a video this morning of me going on Jet Reddit and answering a bunch of the questions there. So what YouTubers do you think are like the best go-to YouTubers that you regularly watch?
For the Jet program, when it comes to like diversity, I know that I'm gonna butcher their names, so please, I apologize. Chocolate Geisha, she's African American, she's from California, I think, so I could kind of relate on that end. There's this one guy, his name is Justin Japan. He was really funny. He's very realistic about the program. And there's a few other people that I've reached out to, like Courtney,
Oh yeah, Courtney.
Yeah, her content was...
I reached out to her when I applied as well.
Yeah, her talks about mental health. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to refer to all these when I get it. And then Kara Adventures.
Oh yeah, I know her one.
That was a long time ago. She's been gone. I feel like all the little new ones are still trying to develop their page. Sure. So you're really the main one that I watch now. I'm just like, okay, what's next?
You mentioned the Chocolate Geisha one, which you watch for diversity information and stuff. I can't really speak to it in any way, but I'm wondering, do you have any concerns or worries about being a black woman in Japan?
I only worry about like being fetishized. Did I say that right? I've watched a few non-Jet program related, like I Live in Japan, like there's a few series like the Black Experience, I think that's what it's called. Everybody that's black that lives in Japan talks about how peaceful it is, and I am so ready for the peace. Like, in America is not for the weak. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just worried about that. Like I just don't want to be approached on a street and assume that like, oh hey, you must be a sex worker because you're black, and I'm just like, no, okay.
For anyone who doesn't make the cut this year, what words of encouragement would you give them?
What I would say, like as if I were talking to myself this year when I didn't get in for the 2020 Jets, if this is a dream, keep it going. If this is what you want to do, keep it up. If you don't feel like you're the right age, you struggle with that, because that's what I struggle with, keep it up. You'll get it. And I mean, if not, unfortunately, there are others that you can join, but if this is the one, just keep applying.
If you want it enough, you will find a way to come here, one way or another. I've obviously made a number of videos giving my advice, but do you have any of your own advice that you would give to other applicants?
Like you said, don't stress over the little things. Start as early as you possibly can. I was writing my statement of purpose like in July. And I had like 15 different copies. So edit, hire someone to look at it. If you're in school, go to your like education department or something and get them to look at it. Make sure you have no errors and just have faith. Like, That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Before this call, I looked back at the first original email you sent me with your statement of purpose from last 2019? Yeah.
Yeah, 2019.
And you literally said in it, I've been working on this for 2 months now, and da, da, da. That was one of the very first statement of purposes I looked at from a subscriber. So at the time, I didn't really have much to compare it to. I read it again now, and like, it was a really strong statement of purpose. Believe me, I've read a range of quality of statements of purpose, a strong range. If you do get on this year, fingers crossed, I believe it, this is your year. What will you be most excited for?
I think I'm going to be excited for the food, first off, because I'm a foodie. And then I'm excited to like practice my Japanese in a real world setting, because I can do it online, but I have to be in it to do it. And the last thing I'm excited for is like meeting like really cool jets like yourself, and like really down to earth people that are willing to go places with me and, you know, get lost in other countries.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me while we're here?
I literally have asked you every question that I have had for the last year. Like, I bother him so much. I'm always on Instagram.
No bother.
Hey, I need advice. So I don't think I have any questions, because your videos are super thorough. So yeah.
To anyone else, it is absolutely no bother at all if you want to message me. It literally just makes me feel appreciated. So it's really a me thing, really. Okay, super. Thank you very much for agreeing to this call. I hope that anyone watching, you've been able to relate to this in any way, to this experience. You can learn something. If you did, leave a like on the video. And if you have any questions for me, please do comment them below. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.